Hey, Megan Scully, and this is the Limerick Post Show, and he's certainly no stranger. It is Keith Barry. How are you getting on?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm so good. It's great to chat to you again. I know you're super busy at the moment between live shows, TV shows, and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always good to be busy, especially after the last couple of years. And yeah, getting back to the live work, the TV show is airing at the moment. So exciting times.
We will talk, of course, about your live show because it is coming to Limerick. But I want to talk about the TV show because I've seen it now a few times, and I've seen your guests and I've seen the whole experience. So talk to us about the Keith Barry experience and how, first of all, that came about.
Yeah, so I suppose I did season one back in 2019, believe it or not. And then obviously we were in pre-production of season two and then the pandemic hit, so that had to be shut down. And then just very quickly, early this year, I got together with RTE and we decided to do season two, even with the restrictions that they still have internally. So yeah, look, I've got an audience of 32 and get to mess with their minds in studio and delve deep into their subconscious minds. So look, it's been received very well, thank God. The ratings are really good, so I'm delighted.
32 people. So that means, yeah, you can pretty much pick out anyone in the audience. That's all I'm thinking about here. I'm like, oh my God, if I was there now, you'd be in view. You can see all 32 people.
Yeah, but not just anybody. Almost everybody has to be picked because if anybody has been to one of my shows before, there's a lot of audience participation. But look, 32 is quite small for me. I'd much rather be down there in Limerick, as you know, and be on stage in front of 800 people or whatever it'll be in June. So for me, the larger the audience is, the more fun it gets. And that's for a number of different reasons, because ultimately you end up having skeptics on stage, young people on stage, old people on stage, and you just have that dynamic that you really can't get anywhere else.
When I hear about audience participation, I always think, oh my God, he's going to pick me out, he's going to pick me out. And I'm kind of that person that tries to like hide in the background. Do you see those people? Can you just think, I know you don't want to be called out, so I'm going to call you out?
Yeah, I've actually gotten softer in my old age, in my mid 40s. So like in my mid 20s, I would have been hunting for those people who are cowering down and scared. Whereas now I actually say to people, and even people listen to this, if you don't want to come up on the stage, that's okay. You don't have to come up on the stage. So you can come prepared to be relaxed, that I'm not going to force you on stage or force you to participate. Now, with that being said, at the start of the show, I do teach half of the new show, Reconnected. I do teach half of the audience how to hack into the other half of the audience's minds right at the very get-go. So if you could imagine that you're there with your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your partner, whoever it is, and then ultimately I teach. So one half of the audience, they stick their fingers in their ears and they close their eyes so they don't understand what I'm telling the other half. And I teach the other half how to hack into the other half's brains. And that's the reason I designed that, is to reconnect people immediately in that moment and subconsciously. But I will say that it's only a specific zoned in thought that the other half will hack. In other words, if you're hiding something, if you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, don't worry, you can relax. They won't be able to figure that out.
That's what I was actually going to ask. I was like, how far can you hack now? I was like, because you might have people going, you know what, I'm going to go along to this now and I'm going to see what's going on with the other half's head.
Yeah, you have to be careful. So that's why I say to the other half, I say only specifically zone in on a specific thought or a specific number or an age or something that you're happy for the other half to hack into. And then we go on from there, all kinds of mad demonstrations. Like I reconnect people to the other side, to the dark side. But I put a disclaimer out there, Megan, so I don't get into any trouble, so people don't misconstrue this. I do say that I'm not psychic. I don't believe that you can contact the other side. But then I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway, Megan, because that's what I do. And then the end of the show is the most emotionally charged ending to a show that I've ever designed. Like, there won't be a dry eye in the house. And that's because everybody's going to be overwhelmed with a real feel-good factor at the end of the show. So look, the show is designed to make people laugh until their faces hurt and then go out the door feeling better for the experience than when they came in. So June 23rd, I'm down the Radisson SAS there in Limerick.
You did mention, of course, the new show is called Reconnected, and you mentioned how you get your audience to reconnect. But what about for yourself, like reconnecting with a live show and people actually physically right there in front of you?
Yeah, I'm excited right now, but I'm not going to lie to you. I'd say a day or two out, I'll probably get really nervous because, it'll be over 2.5 years since I've been on a stage, which is mental because, when I started getting into this, I was really 14 when I started to perform in the public eye. And I've been on a stage pretty much every single week, if not every 2 weeks, since I'm 14. So to have not been on a stage for that period of time is bananas. And it's in our DNA to be on a stage. That's why I started when I was 14. Like I wasn't getting paid anything. I was just in like youth clubs, and I was in, talent shows and things like that. And even now, I think people don't recognize sometimes like, entertainers, yes, this is our industry, yes, this is our livelihood, but if it wasn't, I'd be doing it anyway, Megan. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be on stage anyway because it's in my DNA at this stage. So look, I'm so excited just to get on the stage. I've been in this cabin that we're talking to me here for like 2.5 years, so I actually have cabin fever, and I've got a lot of pent up energy to release upon the audiences out there. So in a good way, they're going to get it.
I have to say, I do love that cabin because I think you've done such a nice job of it anyway. So I think you'll miss it too, you know, because it's probably been like your little safety net as well, your little room.
In a weird way, you know. I said to my wife Mairead the other day, God, I wish I just had a gig in the cabin, because like there was one stage I was doing 7 gigs a day in here, like it was bananas. But I haven't had one in like a couple of months now because the virtual shows just kind of dropped off when the world started to slowly reopen. So we're in this kind of middle period now where I'm just waiting to get on tour. So, once the tour starts, I'll be back on those stages, you know.
I have to ask, so you said there you've been doing this since you were 14. Obviously it's something that maybe was it something you always wanted to do, or is it something that you just kind of always knew as you're younger, right? I have this something, this energy, I've got to use it, I've got to utilize it.
Yeah, but I got into magic when I was 5, but it was really only when I was 14 I got a book called The Klutz Book of Magic. And that's when I started to perform in the public eye, was when I was 14. And look, I knew there and then, right when I was 14, that this is what I was destined to do, really, you know, in some form. I didn't, of course, know where I was going to land at that age. But so, yeah, like it was always in me from when I was 14, I guess. But my parents at the time were like, you know, magic is great, but you're going to college. You know that, right? You're going to college. So I went to college. I'm actually a cosmetic scientist by trade. I don't know if I ever told you that. So, yeah, I used to invent women's makeup, is what that means. I was standing in a white lab coat and stirring up these potions and emulsions and formulas for Oriflame, which is a Swedish cosmetics company.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. I can't believe that. But you're kind of mixing lotions and potions in some sort of magic sense now too.
Yeah, still am.
That's so interesting, Keith. And finally, before I let you go, I want to ask, you mentioned there about, you know, aging and, you know, you're kind of more softer to the audience. But do you find as you're getting older, you're kind of getting more intuitive and kind of more, I guess, abilities and more kind of powers?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I just feel like I can sense people a bit better now, a little bit more intuitive, and I think I'm more open to different experiences as well. So, for example, Megan,
oh no,
I'm going to write something down on this piece of paper, and I think this will be for you. So let's go with this, okay? Before I do this, actually, do you want to think now of the initials of somebody that you once knew? Yeah, let's do that. Think of the initials, just the initials of somebody that you once knew like years ago. So think of somebody perhaps that you were in school with that you haven't thought about in years, and somebody that you might like to reconnect with. So not like the school bully. It could be a teacher that perhaps you like, but ultimately somebody that you think, I wouldn't mind hearing from them, or I wouldn't mind calling them or whatever. So I'm going to write something down. You can see I've written down Megan will say, and I'm going to do this behind my back. So
okay,
look at me.
I'm looking at you.
I think it's this. So I've kind of scribbled something down. Let me just recap the marker. I'll get rid of that. Okay, good. So for the first, have you got somebody in mind?
Yeah.
Initials?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the first time, name out loud. What are the initials of the person? Just their initials.
OL.
OL. Now, who's OL?
It's a girl I went to national school with.
This is crazy. I wrote something down just seconds ago. You saw me writing it down. And I wrote down Megan will say OL.
Wow.
Well,
that's amazing, actually, because that same girl is named after my late grandmother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you need to call OL or find her on Facebook now.
There you go. That's it. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and you've got a story to tell her too.
Exactly. Keith Barry, as always, absolute pleasure to chat to you, the Limerick Post Show. I should remind people, 24th of June in the Radisson Limerick, keithbarry.com for tickets and information. Of course, should say as well, for those who are listening who aren't in Limerick, you have tour dates all across Ireland. I mean, there are so many. You're pretty much in every single corner and like street and avenue and everywhere of Ireland. So loads of tickets and loads for the new show, Reconnected. Of course, the Keith Barry Experience on RTE as well. Keith Barry, as always, Gurmil Magat.
Thanks for having me. Cheers. Good to see you.